Hello friends, and welcome back to another review. We are finally caught up on the newer games we've played, so we get to go back months ago to the games we started playing on the channel at the beginning of the channel. So today we're going to be talking about Thymesia. Of course, every game I review, I would have done a playthrough on the channel already, so I did this months ago when it first came out. So if you want to go see my playthrough, go check it out on my channel. But Thymesia is a Souls-like game set during the Black Plague. You know, it was created by Overboard Studios and released on August 18th, 2022. However, I didn't get my copy until a few days later. Screw you, GameStop. Uh, Anyways, sorry for that. It wasn't the first time they didn't have my game on release day, and it definitely wasn't the last, and it is very, very annoying. Okay, anyways, many companies have tried to recreate the success that From Software has had with their games, but so many of these companies fall short, usually because they don't realize what makes a Souls game. It doesn't take like rage-inducingly hard bosses to be a Souls game. Sure, there should be challenges in it, but so many companies make their games way, way, way too hard. And, every single Souls game needs that challenge, but it also needs to be balanced, and it always needs to add something new to the genre to make it a Souls-like game. It can't just be completely stolen. It has to have something that adds on to the genre to make it unique and keep it fun. So how did Thymesia do with this? Well, let's talk about it. Alright, the combat is the single most important thing when talking about a Souls-like, obviously. If the combat isn't good, then the game is not good. It's just like that. Like, doesn't matter if the story's great. If the combat isn't good in a Souls-like, I won't play it. But Thymesia's combat is pretty solid. It is very comparable to Sekiro, while having the feeling of Bloodborne. So, it is pretty unique. But that's not all. In Thymesia, you basically have two weapons, the saber and the claw. The saber is basically your sword, and it's how you deal your damage. However, dealing damage only causes enemies to have wounds. Enemies will regenerate the wound over time, and that's where your claw comes into play. See, your saber will take the white health bar down, but below the white health bar is a green health bar, and that's the wound. You then use your claw to take down the wound bar. Yes, it is very, very confusing, but it is very unique. This is definitely my favorite part about this combat system. Another big part of the combat is the plague weapons. Throughout the game, you'll encounter many different enemies with their own unique weapons. Killing them may drop their weapon shards. Then you can use these weapon shards to obtain these plague weapons and upgrade the plague weapons with the combat shards. My favorite being the scythe, because it allows you to drain health from the enemies and heal yourself with it. However, you can't continuously use these weapons. There is a bar that will regenerate when you hit an enemy with your claw. So you can also get play weapons by charging up your big claw attack on an enemy and releasing it, and then you will grab their weapon. However, this doesn't let you have the weapon permanently. It's only like a one-time use. So overall, the combat is pretty solid and has a lot of great ideas that were done fairly well. Let's quickly talk about the skill tree and how leveling up works. So when you are able to level up, you can only choose from 3 different things to improve, and that is Strength, Vitality, and Plague. Strength and Vitality don't really need an explanation as to what they do, but Plague, I'll quickly explain its basics. So it practically upgrades how much your claw attack does to the wound damage, and it expands your Plague weapon bar, allowing you to use your Plague weapon more times before needing to refresh it by hitting an enemy. So every time you level up, you get a talent point. You get a talent point up until level 25. So you will get 24 talent points in total. There are so many talents that I can't go over them here, but they are very, very helpful and very much needed in the game. So remember to level up as much as you can, and as soon as you can. As soon as you have enough things needed to level up, go do it. A very nice thing in this game is that you can reset your talent tree, so you can try different talents and builds, and it is awesome. When there's a system like that in any game, it gets massive brownie points from me. Another really cool thing about the game is that there are 3 different types of potions. There is General Potion, Long Lasting Potion, and Fast Acting Potion. That was really hard for me to say for some reason. I'm sure you can figure out what each one does if you just read the name of it or just use your brain. But of course, you can only have one of these potions active at a time, so choose wisely. And now another huge thing in any Souls-like are the bosses. Now there are not a whole lot of bosses in this game. There is a boss per level basically. Some of the side quests don't have some, but some of the sub quests do. However, there are some pretty good bosses in the game, I won't lie. There will definitely be one or two that will give you a tough time. The hardest one for me was definitely the first boss, and the easiest was actually the final boss. But I did receive a comment on one of my playthroughs saying that the final boss made someone rage quit the game. So everyone will find a boss more difficult than another person, if you know what I mean. None of the bosses are like do anything absolutely revolutionary, but it doesn't need to. It's an indie Souls game with a small dev team, and they did pretty good for what they had. Okay, now my biggest gripe with the game, that is the length. If you stick to the main bosses, you can finish this in probably 2 hours. Of course, there are some subquests that add on another 2 to 3 hours, maybe. However, this is ridiculous. I paid $25 for a 4 hour experience. I could go see like 2 to 3 movies for that price at the movie theater, and it would be a longer experience. I know it's a small dev team, but there was definitely a community backing them, and they definitely could have added some more content. But we can only hope in their next game they give us more. And now my final thoughts. This is a pretty solid Souls-like all around. I'd give this a 7 out of 10. It's pretty good. But you know me, I don't just give the score, I tell you if it's worth it at $30, and my answer is no. So I think for the PS5 version physically, it's $25, and on Xbox it's like $30. I don't know what it is digitally. It might be around the same. It probably is around the same. But $25 even is for a 4 hour game is quite bad. And I really enjoyed the game, but there's such little content in here that I would say wait for a sale. Wait for it to be like $10 to $15 before picking this up. And it isn't on Game Pass or anything like that, so this game definitely isn't a must play. Like, you definitely do not need to play this whatsoever. But if it's on sale and you want a short, fun experience with a few pretty good boss fights here and there, then I say go for it. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching my review on Thymesia. Subscribe, stay tuned for other reviews, playthroughs, and other types of videos I do here on my channel. Leave a like if you want, and have a great day, guys.